For thousands of years, humans have asked one powerful question. How did we survive when so many others vanished? It's a question that cuts to the very core of who we are. Because let's be honest, the Earth was never kind to us. It threw everything it had at us. Devastating ice ages that froze entire continents, scorching heat waves that turned lush plains into desolate wastelands, unseen diseases that swept through our ancestors without warning or cure. And let's not forget the neighbors, predators that were stronger, faster, and far deadlier than any human. Saber-toothed cats, cave bears, direwolves, giants that could have wiped us out in an instant. And yet, here we are. We survived. But why? How? It wasn't because we were the strongest. We couldn't outmuscle a mammoth. It wasn't because we were the fastest. We couldn't outrun a cheetah. So what was it? The answer lies in something deeper. Something almost hidden from view. This is what I call the human secret. It's a story not written in history books, but buried deep within our bodies, our minds, and our remarkable ability to adapt. A secret passed down not through words, but through our bones, our skin, and the very instincts that still guide us today. Think about it. Long before we built cities, long before we had kings or empires, long before language as we know it even existed, our ancestors learned a fundamental lesson. They learned how to bend, not break. They didn't fight the earth. They changed with it. When the ice came, they learned to use fire and animal hides to create warmth. When the great beasts hunted them, they learned to hunt together, using their minds to outsmart brute strength. They developed tools not just for killing, but for creating. Needles from bone to sew clothing, pots from clay to store food. This wasn't about conquering nature, it was about harmonizing with it. Our bodies adapted to... Our ability to sweat gave us an incredible advantage, allowing us to hunt for hours under a hot sun while other animals overheated. Our brains grew larger, not just for raw intelligence, but for social bonding, for empathy, for storytelling. We became the ultimate generalists in a world of specialists. While other species were perfectly adapted for one specific environment, we were adapted for change itself. This is the quiet advantage that saved us time and time again when extinction was just one step away. The human secret isn't a single thing. It's a powerful combination of traits. Our unmatched endurance, our creative tool use, and most importantly, our profound capacity for cooperation. We learn to trust each other, to share knowledge, to raise our children as a community. While a lone human was weak, a group of humans was the most formidable force the planet had ever seen. This story, this incredible journey of survival, isn't just ancient history. It's your history. The resilience, the creativity, the social drive of our ancestors sits all still inside you. It's the reason you can learn a new skill, the reason you feel a connection with friends and family, the reason our species has reached for the stars. The human secret is the story of why you exist. And once you understand it, once you truly grasp the sheer unlikeliness of our survival, you will never see humanity, or yourself, in the same way again. The next time you face a challenge, remember the incredible legacy of adaptation that flows through your veins. That is our greatest strength. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more journeys into what makes us who we are. The first topic of discussion is the one thing that saved us. If you travel back in time, say 50,000 years, one question is impossible to ignore. Why are we still here? Seriously, think about it. The ancient world was a brutal, unforgiving place. Imagine ice ages arriving without warning, freezing continents solid. Picture droughts stretching on for generations, turning lush landscapes into barren deserts. This was a world where massive, terrifying animals ruled the land, and invisible diseases spread silently, wiping out entire populations. Most of the species that walked the earth alongside our early ancestors are gone. They disappeared forever, leaving behind only fossilized bones. By all logic, humans should have vanished with them. We weren't the strongest creatures out there, not even close. We weren't the fastest. We didn't have razor-sharp claws, powerful fangs, or natural armor to protect us. We were soft, slow, and seemingly defenseless. So, what was our secret? What saved us from becoming just another footnote in the planet's history? The answer is surprisingly simple, yet incredibly profound. It all comes down to one powerful, defining trait: adaptability. You see, unlike other species that specialized, evolving one specific strength to thrive in one specific environment, humans did the opposite. We didn't evolve a single perfect weapon or a single foolproof defense. Instead, we evolved the most powerful tool of all: the ability to change ourselves whenever the world around us changed. We became masters of transformation. When the vast forests that covered the land began to shrink, turning into open grasslands, humans didn't die out. We learned to survive in the open. We stood up on two legs, freeing our hands to carry tools and see over the tall grass. When our traditional prey became scarce, we didn't starve. We changed what we hunted. We learned to fish, to trap smaller animals, to gather different kinds of plants. When the climate shifted dramatically, swinging from warm to freezing cold, humans adjusted. We figured out how to make clothes from animal skins, how to control fire for warmth, and how to build shelters that could withstand the elements. This incredible flexibility was our greatest shield, our ultimate superpower. Early humans didn't just sit around and wait for nature to become kind again. They were proactive, they reacted, they experimented, and they learned from their mistakes. If one hunting technique failed, they tried something else. If one type of shelter collapsed, they designed a better one. This constant cycle of trial, error, and improvement became deeply wired into the very core of human survival. It's who we are. And you can see this truth reflected even in our own beat. Our physical forms are a living testament to adaptation. Over thousands of years, our skin color, body shape, and even our metabolism slowly adjusted to different environments across the globe. For example, human populations living under the intense equatorial sun developed more melanin in their skin, a natural sunscreen to protect against harmful UV radiation. Meanwhile, humans living in cold, northern regions adapted to conserve heat. Their bodies often became more compact, and their metabolism changed to make the most of every calorie. It's a beautiful example of nature sculpting us to fit our surroundings. But our adaptation wasn't just physical. That's the shallow layer. The real game changer was happening inside our minds. Humans developed a unique ability to observe and understand patterns in the world around them. We learned to track the changing seasons, knowing when to plant and when to harvest. We studied the behavior of animals, predicting their migration routes and learning their weaknesses. We watched the sky and the clouds, learning to anticipate weather changes, from coming storms to long droughts. This ability to recognize patterns and predict future events gave humans an edge that no other predator could match. It was like having a crystal ball. While other species remained static, hardwired to behave in the same way for millennia, hoping the world wouldn't change around them, humans did the opposite. We changed first. We anticipated the shift and adapted before it was too late. That single, powerful habit is a huge part of why you and I are here today. It's the first part of the human secret. We survive because we refuse to stay the same. We embrace change. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Adaptation alone wasn't enough. There's a catch. Physical evolution, the kind that changes our bodies, is an incredibly slow process. It takes thousands, even tens of thousands of years for significant changes to take hold in a population. But the ancient world was chaotic and unpredictable. Sometimes, disaster didn't wait. A volcanic eruption could change the climate overnight. A new disease could sweep across a continent in a matter of months. Humans didn't always have thousands of years to spare. So, this leads us to an even more interesting question. What helped humans survive in those moments of rapid, catastrophic change, long before evolution could even begin to catch up? How did we survive when our bodies couldn't adapt fast enough? The answer to that question isn't found in our bones or our muscles. It's not in our physical form at all. The answer lies in the most complex and powerful structure in the known universe: the human mind. The story of our survival is not just a story of physical change, but of mental revolution. It's about the tools we built, not with our hands, but with our thoughts. Our ancestors discovered something revolutionary. They realized they didn't have to wait for their bodies to grow claws. They could sharpen a rock and tie it to a stick. They didn't need to evolve thick fur. They could learn from animals, strip their hides, and wear them for warmth. This was the birth of technology. But technology is just a physical manifestation of something much deeper: shared knowledge. One human could have a brilliant idea, like creating a new, more effective spear. But that idea would be useless if it died with them. The real magic happened when they could teach that idea to others, when they could share it with their family, their friends, their tribe. This is where language came in. Language allowed us to transmit complex ideas from one mind to another, and from one generation to the next. Suddenly, knowledge wasn't lost when a person died. It was preserved. It could be built upon, refined, and improved over time. Think about it. A child could be born and within a few years, learned survival techniques that had taken their ancestors centuries to figure out. They didn't have to rediscover fire. They didn't have to reinvent the spear. They were handed a library of accumulated wisdom. This collective learning is what truly set us apart. We created a social brain, a network of interconnected minds, all working together to solve problems. A pack of wolves is strong, but each wolf basically knows the same things. A tribe of humans, on the other hand, had specialists. One person might be an expert flint-knapper, another a master tracker, and a third a healer who knew which plants could cure sickness. By cooperating and sharing their unique skills, they were far more powerful than the sum of their parts. This ability to collaborate and share information allowed human groups to tackle challenges that no single individual could ever overcome alone. They could coordinate to hunt massive mammoths, animals that were many times their size and strength. They could build complex social structures that ensured everyone was looked after. So, our adaptability wasn't just biological, it became cultural. We didn't just adapt our bodies, we adapted our tools, our strategies, and our societies. When a new threat appeared, we didn't have to wait for a genetic mutation. We could innovate. We could invent a new tool, devise a new tactic, or create a new social rule to deal with it. This cultural evolution works thousands of times faster than biological evolution. It allowed us to respond to crises in real time, within a single generation. This is the true secret of our species. We survived the brutal ancient world not because we were the strongest or the fastest, but because we were the best learners. We built a cumulative culture, a ladder of knowledge that each new generation could climb a little higher. We learned to cooperate, to share, and to build something together that was far greater than ourselves. Our bodies gave us the potential, but it was our minds, our collective minds that ultimately ensured our survival. And that very same drive to learn, to innovate, and to work together is still what pushes us forward today, into a future of our own making. The second topic of discussion is the advantage no one saw. Long before humans built cities or wrote down their history, something truly extraordinary was already forming inside their heads. The human brain, in the beginning, it wasn't much bigger than the brains of many other animals. It wasn't faster, either, but it possessed one unique ability that quietly, almost secretly, changed the course of life on this planet. Flexible thinking. Unlike other creatures that relied on instinct and slow evolutionary changes, early humans could imagine outcomes before they happened. They could form mental maps, plan complex actions, and, most importantly, they could learn from their mistakes without necessarily dying from them. This was a revolutionary shift. It was like having a time machine inside your skull, allowing you to test futures without paying the ultimate price. This mental advantage allowed humans to solve problems in real time, a feat that evolution alone, with its gradual, generational pace, just couldn't match. Think about it. When predators and the environment became too fast or too dangerous, humans didn't need to wait thousands of years to evolve stronger claws or sharper teeth. Instead, they invented weapons. They picked up a rock, sharpened a stick, and suddenly the balance of power shifted. When the nights grew unbearably cold, humans didn't wait for evolution to grant them thicker fur. They learned to control one of nature's most powerful and terrifying forces: fire. The mastery of fire alone was a game-changer of epic proportions. It provided a reliable source of warmth, allowing humans to survive freezing temperatures and expand into climates that would have otherwise been deadly. It offered protection, keeping nocturnal predators at bay with its intimidating light and heat. It transformed their diet, as cooked food is not only safer, but also provides more energy, fueling the growth of that very brain that made it all possible. And fire extended the day, giving them precious extra hours after sunset for socializing and sharing stories, laying the groundwork for culture itself. But the real, unstoppable power of the human mind wasn't just individual intelligence, it was shared intelligence. Humans didn't keep their knowledge to themselves. They communicated it, they taught their children, they shared discoveries with their tribe. This meant that one generation didn't have to start from scratch. The hard-earned skills, the crucial warnings about poisonous plants or dangerous territories, the clever hunting strategies, all were passed down through language and demonstration. A fatal mistake made by one person didn't need to be repeated by everyone. Knowledge became cumulative, an ever-growing library of survival. This is a level of collective learning that no other species has ever truly mastered. This led to another critical development: deep social cooperation. Humans formed tight-knit groups. They understood that their strength wasn't in individual might, but in collective effort. They protected the weak, the young, and the elderly, recognizing that everyone had value. They shared food, ensuring the group survived even when a single hunter came back empty-handed. They raised children together, pooling resources and knowledge to give the next generation the best possible start. Survival transformed from a brutal, individual fight for existence into a collaborative project. This cooperation multiplied human strength exponentially. A single human, alone in the wild, was fragile and vulnerable. But a group of humans, working together with a shared plan, they were a force to be reckoned with. They could take down mammoths, defend against cave bears, and build shelters that could withstand the elements. A group of humans was, for all intents and purposes, unstoppable. The mind also allowed humans to adapt culturally at a breathtaking pace. Tools weren't just made, they were improved upon, generation after generation. Simple choppers became sophisticated hand axes. Animal hides were fashioned into better, more insulating clothing. Simplentos evolved into more complex and durable shelters. Each of these cultural innovations was a buffer, a shield against the immediate dangers of the world. Each solution bought precious time for the human body to catch up, to adapt slowly and subtly through the conventional process of evolution. In this way, the human brain became a bridge between immediate danger and long-term survival. It was a rapid response system that evolution simply couldn't provide. And the most incredible part, this advantage was completely invisible. There was no physical sign, no massive horns or terrifying claws that announced this new power. It was an advantage of thought, of strategy, of cooperation. That's why it's the advantage no one saw coming. By the time the rest of the natural world might have realized that these upright apes were different, it was already too late. Humans had learned how to outthink extinction itself. They weren't just another species subject to the whims of nature. They had become a species that shaped its own destiny. But this raises another powerful, and perhaps even more profound, question. If the mind saved us in the short term, allowing us to survive immediate threats, and our bodies adapted in the long term through evolution, how deeply did this constant interplay between our mind and our environment shape the human body itself? The answer isn't just in our history books or archaeological digs. It's written into our very biology, into the code of our DNA and the structure of our bones. And that answer lies in the next part of our story. The third topic of discussion is the secret hidden in us. If you could peel back all the layers of modern life, the cities, the technology, the culture, what would you find? You'd find the human body. And that body tells a story that most of us walk around with every single day but never actually read. Because hidden inside us, written in our very flesh and bone, is an epic tale of survival. Think about it. Your skin, your skeleton, your incredible ability to heal from a cut or a broken bone. Even the way your body instinctively responds to heat, cold, hunger, or disease. These aren't just random biological quirks. They are solutions. They are answers to ancient questions, slowly and meticulously shaped by dangers that our ancestors faced thousands of years ago. As early humans began their incredible journey, spreading out from Africa across the entire planet, they walked into a world of constant tests. In some regions, they were met with scorching, relentless sunlight. In others, they faced a biting, freezing cold that seemed to never end. Food could be abundant one season and dangerously scarce the next. New diseases lurked in unfamiliar forests, and strange predators watched from the shadows. Faced with these challenges, the human body didn't just resist. It adapted. It learned. Each skin color began to shift, developing a delicate balance to manage sunlit darker tones to protect against intense UV radiation, and lighter tones to absorb more of it in regions with less sun, which is crucial for vitamin D production. Body shapes also began to transform. In colder climates, a more compact, robust build helped conserve heat. In hotter climates, a taller, leaner frame was more efficient at cooling down. Our metabolism, the engine room of our body, also learned to be flexible. It developed ways to store energy as fat for the lean times, or burn it more efficiently when food was plentiful. Even our immune systems didn't evolve uniformly. They specialized, developing different strengths based on the specific microbial threats that were common in each new environment. This is the beautiful, simple explanation for why humans look so different across the world. Yet we all remain one single, interconnected species. Every variation you see is not a sign of fundamental difference, but a badge of honor. It's evidence of survival. It's a testament to our ancestors' incredible resilience. What makes this story truly mind-blowing is the speed at which it happened. Now, fast in evolutionary terms is not what we think of as fast. We're not talking about overnight changes, but compared to the millions of years, it usually takes 4 major adaptations to occur in a species. Humans adapted across entire continents in what is, geologically speaking, the blink of an eye. How was this possible? Because our evolution didn't happen in a vacuum. It worked hand in hand with our greatest asset, our intelligence and our ability to innovate. Think about clothing. By learning to use animal hides and plant fibers, we drastically reduced the need for our bodies to grow thick fur to survive the cold. By building shelters, we protected ourselves from the harshest elements, reducing the constant environmental pressure. And with the discovery of fire, we fundamentally changed our relationship with the world. We could cook food, making it easier to digest and unlocking more nutrients. We could stay warm in the coldest nights and ward off predators. These cultural tools, these inventions were revolutionary. They acted as a buffer, allowing our relatively fragile bodies to survive in environments we weren't biologically prepared for. In a sense, humans bought time for review. We created a space where our biology could catch up. We changed our environment first and let our bodies slowly follow suit. This is the secret hidden deep within us. We are the unique product of both nature and our own ingenuity. No other species on this planet has ever combined biology and behavior so powerfully and so effectively. While other animals had to wait for their bodies to slowly, passively change over millennia, humans took an active role in their own survival. Even today, as you sit here watching this, your body is still running on ancient software. The way you sweat to cool down is a system perfected on the hot savannas. The way your body stores fat is an echo of a time when the next meal was never guaranteed. That jolt of adrenaline you feel when you're stressed or scared, that's the fight or flight response, a life-saving instinct from a world filled with immediate physical dangers. These are echoes of a life far more precarious than the one most of us know today. So, when you look in the mirror, understand that you're not just looking at yourself. You are looking at a living archive. You carry the legacy of thousands of generations of survivors who endured, adapted, and overcame. Their struggles and their triumphs are written into your DNA. Their resilience is your inheritance. The human body alone is a masterpiece of adaptation. But here's the thing about nature. It never stops testing. It never stops posing new challenges. Throughout our history, just when we thought we had it figured out, the world would change. Catastrophic floods would wipe out entire landscapes. Ice ages would advance, burying continents. New, terrifying diseases would emerge and sweep across populations. Entire ecosystems that we depended on would suddenly collapse. Our cleverness and our biology got us this far. But it raises an even more profound question. What happens when nature pushes back harder than it ever has before? What happens when the challenges of the future dwarf the dangers of the past? The answer to that lies in the next chapter of The Human Secret. The fourth topic of discussion is what nature couldn't break. Have you ever wondered why we're still here? I mean, really thought about it? Earth, our own planet, has tried to wipe us out more times than we can count. Imagine this, entire continents frozen solid during massive ice ages, skies turning black 4 years from volcanic ash, blotting out the sun, crippling droughts that turned lush landscapes into dust bowls, wiping out every food source in sight, and of course pandemics that swept across the globe with no cure and no mercy. These weren't minor inconveniences. They were extinctional level events. Countless species, many far stronger and bigger than us, faced these tests and failed. They vanished from the face of the earth forever. But humans, we didn't. Why? It wasn't because the disasters were somehow weaker when they hit us. No. It was because we responded in a way no other species could. When nature destroyed one way of living, we simply invented another. Think about the sheer cold of an ice age. Most animals would either die off or migrate south, hoping for the best. Humans didn't just wait for the planet to warm up. We adapted. We learned to hunt new, massive animals, like woolly mammoths. We invented layered clothing from animal hides to trap body heat. We figured out how to build insulated shelters, using snow itself to protect us from the cold. And if things got too tough, we organized and migrated across continents, seeking new opportunities. We were resourceful. Then there were the famines. When one food source disappeared, our fate wasn't sealed. We weren't locked into a single diet. We diversified, we learned to fish with incredible skill, invent traps for small game, and forage for edible plants, nuts, and roots. This flexibility meant that no single ecological collapse could starve us into extinction. And eventually, this drive for food security led to the single greatest innovation in human history, agriculture. We went from being victims of nature's pantry to its custodians. Disease was another relentless enemy. Without modern medicine, without even understanding what germs were, how did we survive plagues that could wipe out entire communities? We adapted socially. We learned, through brutal trial and error, that isolating the sick could slow the spread. We developed systems of care, where some risked their lives to tend to others, increasing the group's overall chance of survival. Knowledge was passed down through generation stories and traditions that were actually life-saving public health advice. This behavioral adaptation was our first immune system. You see, nature's favorite trick for breaking a species is to back it into a corner, restrict its food, its habitat, its ability to reproduce, and eventually, it collapses. But humans have always been masters of avoiding corners. We are the ultimate generalists, the ultimate adapters. Our bodies, our minds, our tools, they all evolved to be flexible. But even with all this adaptability and intelligence, our most powerful weapon wasn't a sharp spear or a clever mind. It was each other. It was connection. Humans are social survivors. We shared stories around the fire, which weren't just entertainment. They were warnings about dangers, maps of resources, and manuals for survival. We shared skills, teaching the next generation how to nap flint, how to track animals, how to find water. We shared responsibility. Unlike many species, humans care for the young, the old, and the sick collectively. This social resilience created a system that was greater than the sum of its parts. Nature could kill individuals. Yes, it could wipe out a family or even a small tribe. But it couldn't kill the system. It couldn't erase the shared knowledge, the collective culture that bound us together. The information would live on. The group would survive, learn, and grow stronger. This is the real reason we outlasted animals that seem so much more formidable. A mammoth had size and strength. A saber-toothed cat had speed and deadly claws. But they faced the world alone. Humans faced it together. Our superpower was, and still is, collective survival. Once this system of social connection and knowledge sharing was in place, it became an almost unstoppable force. It self-perpetuated, growing more complex and more robust with each passing generation. Nature didn't stop trying to break us, but we had stopped being easy targets. We weren't just another animal fighting for its niche. We were becoming a force of nature ourselves. This reveals a profound truth about what it means to be human. Our secret to survival isn't one single trait. It's not just our big brain, or our nimble hands, or our endurance. It's the unique combination of all three: body, mind, and community working as a single, integrated survival machine. That powerful combination got us through the past, and it's still with us today, encoded in our DNA and our culture. But this brings up an even deeper, more pressing question. If our ancestors survived by adapting themselves and relying on each other, what does that mean for us now? In a world so different from the one they faced, what is the power we still carry from that ancient legacy? The answer to that lies in understanding what that power has become and how it shapes our world today. The fifth topic of discussion is the power we never noticed. What is the most powerful weapon humanity has ever wielded? When I ask that, what comes to mind? Maybe you think of nuclear bombs, advanced technology, or a sheer intelligence. But the truth is, the single greatest power humans have ever possessed is much quieter, much more subtle, and it's something we often completely overlook. It's the reason we're all here today. This power is our ability to change our behavior faster than biology can change our bodies. Think about evolution. It's a painstakingly slow process. For a species to develop a new trait, like thicker fur to survive an ice age, it can take thousands, even tens of thousands of years. Natural selection works over immense timescales, but humans found a shortcut. We didn't need to wait for evolution to save us. We learned to save ourselves, sometimes within a single generation, or even in a single moment. This is the point in history where humans became truly dangerous not to others, but to the very concept of extinction. When a new threat emerged, we didn't just stand there, waiting for our bodies to evolve stronger muscles or sharper claws. We changed what we did. We adapted our routines. We altered our hunting patterns, shifted our sleeping habits, and redesigned our tools on the fly. Imagine a group of our early ancestors. A new, terrifying predator starts hunting in their territory during the day. What do? Another animal might be trapped by its instincts, forced to face the danger head-on. But humans, they'd gather, they'd observe, they'd communicate. They might decide, okay, hunting during the day is no longer safe. From now on, we hunt at dawn and dusk. Or This valley is a death. We're moving to the high ground. If one strategy failed, they didn't stubbornly stick to it until they were wiped out. They abandoned it without a second thought and tried something new. Most species are prisoners of their biology. A lion has to hunt like a lion. A shark has to swim like a shark. Their instincts are hardwired, but humans learned how to rewrite their own instincts. This incredible behavioral flexibility is what allowed us to survive catastrophic events that should have ended our story right then and there. We're talking about sudden, dramatic climate shifts. Entire ecosystems collapsing around us. The arrival of deadly new predators. The spread of terrifying new diseases. And here's the most beautiful part of this power. It wasn't exclusive. It didn't belong to a single king, a powerful leader, or the strongest warrior. It belonged to everyone. It was a collective, shared ability. Children learned crucial survival lessons, not just from their parents, but from the entire community. Elders, who had witnessed past failures and successes, became living libraries of what to do and what not to do. Knowledge wasn't hoarded. It was shared freely through stories told around a fire, through rituals that passed down essential techniques, and through simple, direct imitation. This created a powerful feedback loop that accelerated our survival. We'd face a challenge, we'd survive it, we'd learn from it, we'd improve our methods, and that improvement would make us even better at surviving the next challenge. Even an emotion as basic as fear became a sophisticated tool. For most animals, fear is a simple trigger, fight or flight. But for humans, it became so much more. We didn't just react to fear in the moment. We remembered it, we analyzed Italiano. We planned our entire lives around it. If a certain berry made someone sick, that fear was transformed into a story, a warning that would be passed down for generations. Do not eat the red berries from that bush. Fear became a form of data. This is the power we never noticed because it doesn't leave behind dramatic evidence. It's not a weapon that you can dig up from the ground. It doesn't leave fossils. You can't see it in our bones. But its impact is written all over our history. It is the reason humanity survived multiple population bottlenecks, terrifying moments in our past when our numbers dwindled to just a few thousand individuals. Moments when extinction was just one wrong move away. The real strength of humanity was never our muscle. It was our mind-boggling ability to adapt our behavior before it was too late. And once this power took root, it became the foundation for everything that followed. It drove the development of complex language, because we needed better ways to share what we learned. It created culture, as shared behaviors and stories became our identity. And eventually, it built civilizations. But there's one final, crucial layer to this secret. A layer that connects our ancient, vulnerable past to your life. Right here, right now. Because this power, this incredible ability for rapid behavioral change, it didn't disappear with the Stone Age. It didn't vanish when we built cities or invented the internet. It's still here. It lives on, inside every single one of us. It's the voice in your head that tells you to try a different approach when you fail. It's the impulse to learn a new skill when your job changes. It's the ability to break an old habit and build a new one. It's the reason you can watch a video like this, learn a new idea, and change the way you see the world in an instant. The same power that allowed our ancestors to outsmart predators and survive ice ages is the very same power you use every day to navigate the complexities of the modern world. It is the quiet, unnoticed, and ultimate human superpower. And it's inside you. The sixth topic of discussion is the truth written in us. Have you ever felt like the world is just too much? That we, as modern humans, are fragile, overwhelmed by the chaos of our own making? It's a common feeling. We look at the news, at the speed of technology, at the sheer scale of global problems, and we think, how can we possibly keep up? We feel disconnected from our own past, as if the secrets of our ancestors were lost to the mists of time. But what if I told you that secret isn't lost? What if it's not a secret at all, but a truth written into the very fabric of our being? It's not buried in ancient ruins or hidden in forgotten texts. It's right here, inside you. Think about it. When you move to a new city, you learn the streets, the culture, the rhythm of a place you've never known. You adapt. When a new piece of technology comes out, you learn its interface, its quirks, its potential. You adapt. When you face a personal crisis, a setback, a loss, you grieve, you learn, and eventually, you find a way to move forward. You rebuild. That process, that incredible, almost unconscious ability to bend without breaking, is the human secret. It's the same instinct that has guided us for hundreds of thousands of years. Your body is a living archive of survival. It carries instructions honed by countless generations. The way your heart rate quickens when you sense danger, the way your immune system fights off invaders, the way you instinctively seek shelter from a storm. These aren't just biological processes. They are ancient survival strategies passed down from ancestors who faced threats we can barely imagine. Your mind is the same, that spark of curiosity that makes you wonder, what if? That's the same instinct that led our ancestors to discover fire, to invent the wheel, to map the stars. The nagging feeling of anxiety, in its original form, it was a vital alarm system, keeping us alert to predators hiding in the shadows. Even our creativity, our art, our stories, these are powerful tools for sharing knowledge, for imagining a better future. And perhaps most importantly, there's our deep, unshakable need for connection. Why do we crave community, friendship, love? It's not just a fuzzy feeling. It's the echo of an ancient group survival logic. Our ancestors understood that alone, we were vulnerable. But together, we were a force. We could hunt larger prey, defend against greater threats, and care for one another through hardship. Every time you reach out to a friend, help a neighbor, or feel a sense of belonging in a group, you are tapping into the most powerful survival tool humanity has ever developed: each other. We often fall into the trap of thinking we are weaker than those who came before us. We look at our comfortable lives and believe they've made us soft. But history paints a very different picture. Humanity has faced unimaginable horrors. We survived brutal ice ages without central heating or insulated jackets. We endured devastating pandemics long before we understood what a virus was, without vaccines or modern medicine. We lived through extinction-level events without even having a word for extinction. We didn't survive because the world was easier back then. It was infinitely harder. We survived because we were, and still are, astonishingly adaptable. That resilience is the core of our identity. The human secret isn't about being the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest species. It's not about achieving perfection or bending the world to our will. The true secret is our resilience. It's our ability to face the impossible, to get knocked down, and to find a way back up. It's the capacity to learn from our mistakes, to change our minds, and to keep going, even when every odd is stacked against us. Think of a disaster zone. What's the first thing you see after the chaos? People helping people, strangers digging through rubble, sharing what little food they have, comforting one another. That is the human secret in action. It's not grand or glorious. It's gritty, it's messy, and it's profoundly beautiful. Every single generation adds another chapter to this story. Every challenge we overcome, from personal struggles to global crises, sharpens this incredible skill. We are not just the inheritors of this legacy. We are active participants in it. The anxieties of the modern world are real, and they are heavy, but they are not a sign of our weakness. They are the modern expression of an ancient alertness, a signal that we need to adapt once again. Our challenges today are different, but the tool we need to solve them is the same one we always had. The world will never stop changing. New technologies will emerge, new dangers will arise, and the future will always be uncertain. But that's okay, because we will change too. We will learn, we will innovate, and we will adapt. That is why humanity has survived for so long. It is why we continue to push the boundaries of what's possible. And that is the enduring, unbreakable human secret. It lives in every act of kindness, every moment of discovery, and every time we choose to stand back up after a fall. It's not just our history, it's our future. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more thoughts on the human experience.